channel. My name is Calliope, and if you are a returning viewer, thanks for stopping by. So, if you clicked on this video, I'm assuming that you have had trouble with anxiety/panic attacks or are having trouble with it. So, before I say anything, if you are in serious danger or if you really feel like you might hurt yourself or somebody else, please call somebody, call a hotline, call a therapist. There are many resources out there, and I really don't want to see you get hurt, okay? So, I've made a few videos about anxiety before, but I had a viewer reach out and say that he had some recent trouble with some anxiety, panic attack kind of issues, and I've kind of felt a little more lately myself, so figured I'd put it in the repertoire. So this is not going to be a video where I, kind of calm you down or typical ASMR panic attack relief videos, but I'm going to try to help you through it a little bit. Mostly I want to keep you company. I'll talk a little bit, just kind of ramble, try to get your mind off things, okay? So, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you're listening to this, I want you to make yourself as comfortable as possible. I know sometimes it's not easy. I mean, if you're out in public or at work, then it's hard to make yourself completely comfortable. But just as much as you can, relax your shoulders a bit, unclench your jaw, take a deep breath. We're just going to chill out here for a little bit, okay? Just me and you. So, first, I'm going to go through some things that we do to help recognize and at least ride out panic/anxiety attacks. So, first thing that we're supposed to do is acknowledge, hey, this is a panic attack. This is an anxiety attack. So I can speak from experience. If you try to put it off, or if you're like, this is not happening right now, this is not happening, that makes it a lot worse. Anxiety, pain, confusion, anger, all demands to be felt and felt immediately in the moment. Now, there is one exception to this rule, which I use a lot in response to both anger and anxiety, is that I will think to myself, okay, so I don't really have time or ability to handle this right now, but I can hold on to this and think about it, let's say 8 p.m. tonight. It's only a few hours away. I'm just going to not completely banish it from my mind. I'm just going to hold off for a couple hours and deal with it when I'm better equipped to handle it. This doesn't always work, but a good portion of the time it can help at least stave off an attack for a little bit. So we're coming back to, we are acknowledging that this is a panic attack. This is an anxiety attack. I'm going to use both terms interchangeably, so whichever one I use, I mean both terms. So we're going to acknowledge, hey, I'm having an anxiety attack. So this really sucks. This blows, but this is what's happening. I don't want you to think that for a second you are weak or that you are incapable, because that's simply not true. Anxiety is an extremely common mental condition and becoming increasingly so. I mean, we're people who have so much to do, but at the same time, not enough to do. Anxiety was a little more relevant when we were constantly on the run or nomadic or waiting for predators to come eat us. So then it was of good benefit to constantly be on your guard. But nowadays we don't have that danger. So this adrenaline rush response doesn't really do anything for us, but it's very normal. It's extremely normal. And a lot of people experience this every single day, including this exact moment that you are. If that makes you feel any better, there are people going through the exact same thing as you are right now. So besides acknowledging that you're having a panic attack, you are also not really in danger. So it might feel that you're really sick, or you're having heart palpitations, you get really dizzy. It might feel like something really bad's about to happen. But the cool thing about anxiety attacks is they're not really dangerous. They feel horrible, but ultimately they don't last that long. And once they're done, they're done. And whether you fight it or you let it go, it'll end regardless if you have no intervention or if you do have intervention. But to get through it a little quicker, we realize that it's there and it's not going away. No matter what we try to do, we're just going to have to deal with it head on. And that's the better way to do it. So I'm going to have you do some deep breathing exercises with me, because after saying, hey, having a panic attack here, this sucks, but this is happening, so we're just going to have to get through it as best as we can. So to help calm some of the dizziness, palpitations, the uneasy breathing, hyperventilating, we're going to do some deep breathing. And instead of breathing from your chest like most of us normally do through the day, we're going to breathe through more towards our diaphragm into our belly. So you can put your hands on your stomach if you wish, to make sure that you're breathing very deeply from your belly, and you can feel your belly rise and fall as you're breathing, instead of as your chest expands and contracts. So we're going to inhale for the count of 4, hold it for the count of 4, and exhale for the count of 4. That's going to help regulate our breathing and hopefully put a little bit of an ease on our mind, at least just enough to get us through. And that's the important part. We just have to get through. And we can do it. You can do it. We'll be okay. So I want you to inhale deeply from your stomach. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's one complete breath cycle. And I I want you to feel just a little more at ease. Not necessarily completely okay, but just a minutely bit okay. Just a minutely bit. With each cycle that we breathe deeply, hold and exhale, I want you to try to feel just a small bit more towards okay. We will get there. It might take a little bit, but we'll get there. So I want you to inhale again for the count of 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. We're going to do it again. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. We're going to inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I want you to keep breathing on those cycles. Inhale for the count of 4. Hold for the count of 4. And exhale for the count of 4. While you're doing that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I go through, my experiences with anxiety, and as I kind of ramble, I hope this sort of takes your mind off things. So one of the things we can do is just kind of let our mind wander, not necessarily towards, what could happen, but just focusing on something not necessarily important. So, I have had diagnosed anxiety since I was 15. However, I've been experiencing anxiety and her lovely sister's insomnia, depression, what have you, since I was maybe 8 or 9, maybe 10. And unfortunately, I didn't get treated for it for a long time. And when I did get treated for it, let's just say medication just doesn't do it for me, which is a shame, but it does help for a lot of people, just not me. So I used to go from having panic attacks several times a day to now it's been about several months between episodes, maybe a couple times a year, I would say. Generally, when I get panic attacks, it's from an overwhelming amount of things piling all at once. Now, anxiety attacks I get quite frequently, and this, I would say, is just a more minor form of a panic attack. In a panic attack, I am rendered pretty much incapacitated, and I won't go into the details of that because I found that if I hear other people's symptoms, that I start to exhibit that as well. I don't know that it's a type of mimicry, but maybe just that I'm so paranoid that I hear something and my body immediately responds to it. Don't know. In any case, so anxiety attacks I get quite frequently. Most of the time it's going to be when I'm driving. I have quite a long commute home. I'm on the road for approximately 30 to 40 minutes on the interstate. And even though the interstate in Iowa is not nearly as bad as, say, Texas or Los Angeles or another major metropolitan area, however, it still is very distressing to me because I was in a car accident when I was 15, 16. And since then, I've never liked driving since. I am very distressed by the fact that it doesn't matter how well you drive, it's based on how everyone else around you drives. It doesn't matter if you're the best driver in the world, because if someone else screws up, you're screwed. And I used to never be able to even drive down the street, but now I've gotten to a point where I can get where I need to go. If I get lost, I only freak out for a minute, but most of that comes from kind of a little bit of staving off the anxiety until later, but also in that moment, I don't really have a choice about freaking out or not. I can't just pull over. I can't just not drive because I'm already there, but I have to work through it. My drive is only 30 to 40 minutes. And while that might be the longest 30 to 40 minutes of my life, I will get through it eventually. I won't like it, but it's gotta happen. We get through it because we have to, not because we want to. Although it sure helps that we eventually get out of that situation and we want to get out. But my biggest thing is I need to feel grounded. So if this happens to me while I'm driving, I usually dig my hands into the steering wheel so that I'm feeling my fingernails on my palms so I can feel something physical. Or I kind of poke at my legs in my jeans or what have you and try to feel the physical sensations of usually pain, like pinching. A little bit of pain helps ground me the best. I wouldn't recommend that since that's technically self-harm, but there's a reason people do it. It generally works pretty well. So again, not advocating for that, but there's a reason why people do it. So, and I have to talk to myself, of course, inside my head, the internal monologue. And I say to myself, Calliope, okay, so this sucks. It's unfair. It's stupid. But we have to do this anyway. So, we can freak out about this now and possibly get ourselves into a lot more trouble than we're in right now, because we're not really in any danger right now. As long as I keep my head focused, my eyes on the road, then we'll get home safe. It will be okay. It'll suck, but we're gonna do it. And that's kind of how my mom used to talk to me when I was having issues. And she'd just be like, Cal, it's gonna be okay. It might suck, but you do what you gotta do, and you just do it. You don't have any time to think about it. You just do it. So, make sure that you're still deeply breathing here, not just listening to me ramble. I need you to inhale for the count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it keep doing that. Keep breathing. So, that's also another part of working through panic attacks, anxiety attacks, is that you have two choices. One, you wait through it. This would be like, for example, if you're sitting at home or not really doing anything of importance. The other option is working through it. And that would be like, for example, if you're at work or you're driving or you're trying to get somewhere, you're kind of busy. So, option A, waiting through it. This is kind of what we're doing now. We are distracting ourselves and just kind of holding on and waiting for it to subside. Now, if you can't just chill out and wait for it to abate, then we have option 2, which is working through it. This is where we just saddle up and we say, this sucks. This is super unfair. I hate that I have to do this, but we have to do it anyway. And it shouldn't be happening like this. I don't want to do this, but the faster that we just get it over with, the faster it's gone. We won't have to worry about it again. So, you have different techniques. For example, you can find them online. You might hear about them from friends or from therapy. Ultimately, it comes down to deep breathing, grounding techniques, relaxation techniques like relaxing all the muscles that you can recognize are quite tense, talking through it to people, which can really help you out, and listening to ASMR videos or music is also some good ways to help write it out or work through it. So, a last little note that we're going to go through is some things to help perhaps with our struggles with anxiety and panic attacks. So, I know many of you have heard this 1,000 times, but it does need to be said. So, some things that help in your life to, change or implement. Getting exercise through the week, of course, is a big thing that people like to urge other people with any sort of mental illness to do. It's a natural release of serotonin and all your other happy chemicals. And another one is to limit caffeine and alcohol. Caffeine can make you super jittery and paranoid and anxious. And alcohol, a lot of times, can put us into pretty bad places. However, it's y'all's life. I'm not going to judge. Another one is hard drugs. Don't do them. Softer drugs, be careful. And another thing would be to, of course, try to limit your stress. I know that's, everyone wishes they had less stress, but a couple ways you can do that besides exercising and just limiting your dietary intakes of certain substances. You can also, of course, get hobbies or practice your hobbies, talk to friends, get a therapist or talk to your therapist, which that last one is very dependent on location, insurance, as well as the office themselves. Which, that's not fun either, but we try our best. So, I hope that this has been helpful for you. I'm really sorry that you're going through this, and I do hope that it gets easier for you, and I know you can get through it. Even if this happens again, you've gotten through every single one of these panic or anxiety attacks. Every single one. You haven't died, and you're still trucking. So, it's something to be proud of. And I'm proud of you. So, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope this helped. I'll see you guys later. Have a whale of a day.